we have some people that are on the call that are not going to be on the screen. They're staying just as listeners or watchers. But we're glad those of you that are here, we can see you. Nice to see you.
I'm cooking in my kitchen, so I'm not going to take you everywhere I go.
All right, that's good. That's good. Okay, we're going to get started. We're going to do a little bit different tonight because Jason, our guest speaker, has got a little bit of time constraint. So right now at the beginning of our call, I'm going to introduce a person that I had the pleasure of being with when the New York Commission for Social Justice of Sons of Italy gave an award to NAGA and to myself. We both enjoyed being there. Robert Ferrito was with us, and John Frada's organization in New York. It was a very nice event, and I was very pleased to be with David Finkenbinder at that event. So I'm going to introduce David right now, and he'll take it from here. So go ahead, David.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. My name is David Finkenbinder. I'm a board member with NAGA, and my Indian name is Wanbli Ohitika, means brave eagle. And I have the honor and the pleasure to introduce you to Jason Buck. As he puts in his bio, he is a true Washington Redskin. He was on the team that won Super Bowl 26, and that's probably when they skunked my team, the Denver Broncos, that year. And he grew up in Idaho, and he was drafted as the 17th player overall in the NFL draft in '87. He first went to Cincinnati and then on to Washington Redskins. So it's my pleasure to introduce and have Jason Buck speak. It's all you, Jason.
Oh, thank you so much, and I appreciate that introduction. Yeah, I spent my entire life dreaming of the NFL and grew up on a little farm, but my parents were awesome at telling their family stories and our family history at the dinner table and around the fire, or just at home. That was my parents' great gift, I believe. So I grew up with a great love of my Native American family, listening to my mom's stories of our trials, and go right back to the Trail of Tears with my mom's family and how they would hide and from persecution and try to disguise themselves, so they get their lands taken away from them, and grew up with a lot of how their lands were taken from them. We grew up with a lot of our stories from our great grandmother and great great grandmother and so forth. And then I also have a line that was the Cherokee, and I also have a line of Abenaki and Mohican up in Quebec from my family that came from there. So I had this great love of it, and I always had a dream of playing for the Vikings. My dad was an old Danish Swedish guy, or the Redskins, and I got to play for the Redskins and win it all. So I had a great love for the Redskins and the name, and always hated the political correctness and cancel culture that's out there that just has no common sense. I just never got caught up in stuff like that. When growing up, man, we played cowboys and Indians out on the farm. It didn't matter whether I got to be the Indian or the cowboy. We were all having a blast, and we thought it was awesome as little kids to be the Indians. I mean, we just had a great love for the people, and I looked at it as my family, and they were my heroes too, and my heritage. And so when I got to play for the Redskins, then they developed that whole team culture and love there. And to have that taken away from us was devastating to not just me, but almost the majority of the players. When you just see common sense of just 90% of the Native American people surveyed are all behind the Washington Redskin name, and they like it, and they don't look at it as an insult. They look at it as a source of pride. And I didn't know all the details of it until I've met NAGA. And I had been looking for a conservative Indian group, Googling it, and I found NAGA, and I started calling the numbers, got hold of Will Brotherton, and then he got me hold of Eunice, and then I was in. So I've been helping a little bit just as on the board, and got involved in that and learning from people like Dave and everybody else, even more stories inside the Native American people. And one that I found just so intriguing was that it was the Native American people, the oldest known written document of the name Redskin in 1769 was given by an Indian chief, Mosquito. Yeah. And that's our word. It was the settlers that came in and named us, Indian because they thought they had landed in India and gave us, but the Redskin name is actually our people's name that we gave ourselves. So I look at it as a great source of pride. What other better way to identify us as a people when you have hundreds upon hundreds of tribes, about 578 or so recognized here in the United States, different tribes, to come under one umbrella because we're all Redskins. And so if people looked at it and did their homework, they'd see that it's just a great source of pride. And that's our name. We gave it. And we shouldn't let it be stolen by the politically correct and cancel culture that try to weaponize words and take it away from us. It's make it their own. It's absolutely ridiculous. And I'm very glad to be a part of NAGA and this entire journey to help, stop cancel culture and educate, not eradicate. NAGA's doing a fantastic job. I've had a great time getting to know Eunice, and all the members of the board, Tony and Will and others. And what great people. I'm so excited to have found my Native American family that my mother told me about all my life and become a part of it and help in such a great fight. So I'm willing to take some questions and answers here if anybody would like to.
Well, Jason,
for me.
Yeah, Jason, why don't you tell everybody where you're at right now? Because we're seeing a beautiful sky behind you and where you live.
The mountains, the mountain peaks there behind me. There they are. I'm actually right in Salt Lake Valley right now. I'm attending an NFL player association, the retired players meeting with my family tonight. They're having a little dinner and we have a meeting. So I'm here with about 100 other NFL guys that are either played for the Utah colleges or actually moved in here for business in the Salt Lake Valley.
And when you were playing and with your team members and so forth, did they know about your heritage?
No, I never shared it with them. I knew, of course, from the time I was just a little boy, but we never got in those conversations. We talked politically in the locker room a little bit. The locker room's kind of a funny place, and usually a lot of razzing and teasing, and the Native American subject never came up because it was a locker room about 70% of our black friends, and most of the subject was theirs. So nobody brought up the Native American struggle or that subject. No.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, as you probably, I don't know if you've heard, but we've been doing these solidarity sessions since we first started. First one back in March on a monthly basis, and they've been very helpful, because Italian Americans have been subjected to cancel culture with Columbus and so forth. And
absolutely,
so this has been great. And the reason I'm bringing that up is that there's actually an issue right now that's come up in Nevada where they're trying to get rid of Columbus Day in favor of Indigenous Peoples Day. And of course, we object to that, and NAGA has taken a position that not to take away Columbus Day to celebrate Indigenous people on another day.
Yeah.
And Robert Ferrito, who's with the Commission for Social Justice, he's been working on this, and we're trying to coordinate on that. So I don't know if you know anybody down in Nevada, but we're certainly looking for some help because we understand there's a couple of tribes there that are pushing to have this Columbus Day eliminated.
Yeah, I come from the school. I really loved how Martin Luther King said some great things, and one of them was, "You don't drive out hate with more hate. You drive out hate with love." And common sense says, let's have another day for our Native American family. Right. I'd rather call it the Redskin Day than the Indigenous Day, because that's our word. The Indigenous Day is the settlers' words, not ours.
Right.
And politically correct, the academic elite that comes from the universities and the colleges. And but why not have it another day? I love America. I mean, I grew up a patriot. I cry at the national anthem and take such great pride in it. And I believe that at this time and this day, there's no going back 200 years. America is America, and the Native American people are such a huge part, an anchor to America and our culture and our history and what we become. And so let's have a wonderful day recognizing the Native American people, but let's keep Columbus Day in our history, and let's understand history, whether it's the heartbreaking tragedies and wars and things that were taken during the big displacement and hardships, but tell the stories in truth and historical, and so we all learn and have this great pride in our story and heritage. But nobody wins by going out and delivering it with hate and rancor, and we can go out and be patriots and love the United States of America, even though they make mistakes. I mean, I'm also a Mormon, and we were chased all the way across the United States by the Army of the United States, and the governor of Missouri put out an order to murder all Mormons. This is the governor, and it's in written record of Missouri, put out an order to murder all Mormons on sight. So, I've had both sides of my family that were, but I still, even with that, I'm a great patriot, and I love the United States of America, and I love my Native American family and our history, every ounce of it. And I love my dad's history as well, and their history of America. And the story, I'm way into genealogy. So my William Brewster, the patriarch of the Mayflower, is my direct lineal 14th great grandfather in Mayflower. And then Powhatan, the Indian chief that fought against Jamestown, right?
Yeah.
He is my direct 11th great grandfather.
Wow.
So founding of the United States in that period, I am on both sides.
That's great.
And I love it.
Great.
I love it.
Okay,
Yeah,
Jason,
awesome.
if you don't mind, I'm going to open it up for a couple of questions. And
Yeah.
we ask if anybody has a question, if you could raise your hand, use the raise hand button, and I'll certainly recognize everybody one at a time. So you can ask Jason anything you want. If there's any football fans out there or anything else you'd like to ask about. Anybody have any questions? Just raise your hands. Okay, Dr. Cognetti.
Well,
You have to unmute, Doc. There you go.
Jason,
Hello.
being a Philadelphia Eagles fan,
Yeah.
I certainly remember your days.
Sacked Randall
as a
Cunningham a
Redskin.
few times
Yep.
back in the day.
I don't have a political question, or otherwise I have a football question here.
Sure.
How are you holding up here 30 years out?
Wow.
How's the body holding up? For all
Pretty
those
good.
Years of taking hits.
I feel every bit of it, and we hit so much more than they do now. I coached at the Redskins in camp a few years ago, just trying to get back in the league, and it's just patty cake. I counted up the concussive hits we had taken a day, because I'd go full pads, 7 weeks of camp, full hits, like we were going to kill each other every play on our own practice field. And I figure 1 year of football in my day is the equivalent of 8 years of football today, just on, because they don't ever hit a practice and take the thousands upon thousands of hits we would take just in practice. And man, if I played now, I'd double my length of my career. But I'm holding together pretty good. I work really hard at diet, nutrition, and scientific recovery and everything. I even do red light therapy and hyperbaric chamber, and I feel like I'm doing pretty good. I'll see a lot of my friends that can barely walk or having a much harder cognitive, time, and it hurts. But I'd tell my children and grandchildren to play the game. It's a lot safer now, and if you do it right, you can still do it.
Great.
Well, thank you. We certainly appreciate the relationship that we've developed with NAGA, and it's amazing to see the similarities between our two heritages and our respect for our heritage of our forefathers, and we've really enjoyed the relationship with your group. So thank you, and thank you for being here tonight.
No, thank you. And I know it means a lot to just Americans with common sense. We all know that there's adversities in our past. You don't have to go very far in our past history to find it, or even in the old world, right? And that's just a story of history. And now we're all Americans together and fighting for what's right in our traditional values and the cultures of our people. And it's great to be working with such good people. I love my Italian friends in Chicago. Love them.
Oh, Jason, just point of information, Dr. Cognetti was actually the president of the Unico chapter that hosted our very first meeting where Eunice and I made the presentation about NAGA to about 150 Italian Americans from 7 organizations. So it was Dr. Cognetti that arranged for that meeting.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for having me on tonight. I really appreciate it and love working with you, and really appreciate you having that time. And I love working with my friends at NAGA, and we're on this great journey to just help unify our country and make this even better for all of us.
And just before you go, Jason, just got a text to let you know that on one of the people that they're watching right now, there's 20 members of the Transportation Columbia Association of New York, which is those are Italian Americans that are part of the Columbia's Transportation Association, and they're all watching.
Right.
They wanted to just say hello. There's 20 of them. They can't say hello all together, but they wanted me to say hello to you.
Hey, everybody, guys, girls, whoever's all in there. Columbia, was it Columbia Association?
It's the Transportation Columbia Association of New York.
Of New York. I love my New York friends too.
Yeah,
So,
Josephine Mayetta is running that group there. Is with that group there. Okay. Any last questions? And then we're going to let Jason go.
Andre, can you hear me?
Yes, Cheryl. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm on Android, so I don't have a let me speak button.
Okay.
Jason, I'm Cheryl Stratton from Cedar City, Utah.
Oh,
and
hi.
Hi, we have been fighting the fight to get the Redmen name returned to our high school here.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to give you a big thank you for your letter that we were able to read last, well, it would have been spring of 24.
Yeah.
And it was great. I really appreciate you putting in that effort. We've gone a little covert right now. We've realized that we're up against a lot of the DEI, SUU people that are pushing this narrative.
Yeah.
And so right now our main goal is to get people elected to our school board that are from this area. And we're going to take SUU out of our school system.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I was saying, we're still fighting the fight here, and I really appreciate you writing that letter for us.
I'll do whatever I can to help. I mean, SUU and Cedar City is just a couple-hour drive for me. And we know that we've got to stop this great cancer that's in our colleges and universities and the academic elite that just turned to poison for some reason. Sad.
Yeah, we had a board member that actually took it upon himself to go out to the reservation and knock on doors because he is actually their constituent on the school board. And much like all the national polls, only one person out of 12 didn't want the Redmen name back. All the rest did.
Right.
And then we had a member of the tribe do another poll in another area, and only 2 out of 20 didn't want it back. The rest did. So it's
back coast to. It is. When you get the bureaucrats. So
yeah.
So Valerie, why do they still insist upon keeping it when you do such a good job, like many of these polls and showing and going to these boards? How can they keep resisting? Don't they understand that they're on the wrong side of the argument? They made a false argument. I'm even assuming that they made a mistake thinking they were doing the right thing. But you did such a great job. Every time we bring witnesses in like that, it starts to change people's minds. So what is their logic or their argument to insist that they're not going to let the name come back when they went
with the whole national perspective. They went with
Andre,
the whole national.
Yeah.
I have to go. They're not letting my family in without me.
Okay.
So.
No, yeah, we understand, Jason. We appreciate you coming on. I know you're
thanks everybody. I'll be back on again. I appreciate all of you.
Okay, Jason. Great. Have a good evening tonight. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.